welcome to September's Lunch Bytes session. Thank you for coming today. Our topic this month is NC105, and I'm actually very excited about this because I've never went through NC105 myself, so this will give me some background knowledge as to what we're requiring from our students. So if you can take a moment and go ahead and type your name in the chat as part of an attendance, that would be great. And just for future knowledge, the session is going to be recorded and eventually posted on YouTube. So we do ask that you keep your microphones muted unless you have a question. But then you can also type your question into that chat on the right-hand side. Sally, do you see where to get to your chat at? You're muted, Sally. Try again.
Oh, I'm not muted.
Well, I just unmuted you.
Well,
Okay.
now we can hear you.
Okay, so toggle down to the bottom of your sheet.
Oh, here I see it.
Okay. So Sally, you could type them there, or you can just stop the presentation and we can address them.
I can type it right here.
Okay.
Well, I will introduce our presenters. We have Marie Gardner, the Dean of the Ottawa and Online Campuses. And then we also have Miss Sherry Woolman. Uh-oh. That wasn't over, Sherry. My screen went blank for a second. Okay. The Administrative and Technical Assistant for the online college. So Sherry, Marie, thank you for being our presenters today. And I will turn that over to you, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Okay. Cheryl, thanks for joining us. I see you're just coming on. If you can find the chat and just type your name so that we can know that you're here, that'd be great. So at any point, any of you that have questions, just jump right in. As Amanda mentioned, you can interrupt us or you can use the chat feature to ask those questions. So our plan today is just to talk about NC105, the pages in the class. We are planning to walk through each of the assignments and give a brief synopsis of the skills the students learn, the purpose for that assignment. And then Sherry, who is one of our graders for NC105, will help us with some of the common pitfalls that students make, maybe the common mistakes that we're seeing, and some advice to you as an instructor on how to handle that. So that's what we plan to do. To get us started, the whole purpose of NC105 is so that we as the online campus will train the students on how to use the LMS. And so when they get to you in their classes, you as instructors can focus on the content that you want them to learn rather than the skill set that they might need to have in order to function within Inside NC. So this is an optional course. There are no fees for it. It does not appear on their transcripts. As long as they are enrolled in a credit-bearing class, they should have access to NC105 for that semester. They may, over the course of their years at Neosho or the different semesters at Neosho, they may end up in different sections of NC105. But all of the sections are similar. They have the same language, and the students only have to complete NC105 once, as long as they keep the certificate that they earn. So we'll talk a little bit about that. There are 9 assignments in NC105, 8 of which are graded and worth 50 points each. These assignments are manually graded. Sherry is one of our graders. We have 2 other faculty graders who work with NC105. The graders should work on every 24 hours, but we do tell the students to allow up to 2 business days. So on the weekends, the graders don't really come in and grade if there's a holiday, etc. We do help the students with technical issues or any questions that they have. We've created a fictional instructor called NC Instructor, and the email address is NC Instructor. I'm going to pause for just a second because I'm learning that you have you can see something that you shouldn't be seeing that's interfering. So I've reshared my screen, and hopefully you no longer have flickering or a big black bar. Okay, thank you. I apologize for that. And I've forgotten where I was. Oh, NC Instructor, there's an email address, ncinstructor@neosho.edu. Sherry monitors that email address. So that's where we try to push all of the NC105 traffic to that email address. We also talk a little bit about the certificate. It is a PDF electronic certificate. It has my electronic signature with the time date stamp on it. And the students request it, and it is issued if they've fully completed the course. So that's kind of some of the nuts and bolts. I've covered the news portlet there at the top right with those bullets. That's the information I just talked about. And I'm going to turn it over to Sherry so she can talk about the frequently asked questions.
Hi, everybody. What you see here are just the very basic questions that we get a lot from students. Basically, every student enrolled at Neosho is automatically put into this course. And right now we have about 2,200, I think, among the 10 sections that are being graded. And these three questions seem to be the most popular. Number one is, you know, I didn't sign up for this. Where did it come from? And if they read the home page, they can see that everybody's in it. The second thing is that whenever their certificate is issued, they were complaining that they can't see any information. But in the process of completing the assignments, they're asked to update their Adobe Reader. But if they've done that on another device, they may not see it on the computer that they're looking at to read the certificate, so therefore they're not seeing the information. And we just let them know, if you update your Adobe Reader, you'll be able to see everything. The third thing, which I think causes the most frustration, is at the end of the term, whenever the classes automatically close, the assignments close, it automatically grades and the students all get an F. And so they kind of freak out, but the F doesn't show up on their GPA, it doesn't show up anywhere, and once we remove them from the class, it goes away. So that's it.
Okay, so with that, I think we're ready to look right at the coursework. So I am logged in as our favorite student, Peter Panther. I believe I'm logged in as Peter Panther, and we're going to see that coursework page here in just a second. So we're going to take a look at each of these assignments. So the Panther email assignment is designed to help the students activate their email account. As you guys are aware, we inform the students at the time that they apply for admissions to the college that our official means of communication with them is through their Panther email account. So all of our offices work with the students through the email, but more importantly, our instructors have communication with the students through the email. So it is extremely important that the students learn how to access their Panther email account and begin checking that on a regular basis. So for this assignment, we tell them to activate their account if they've not already done that. We give them directions on how to go about setting it up, forwarding their email account if they wish to do that. And then we also have, again, the help information. Once they get into their email, they sort of prove to us that they have been able to access their email by generating an email to NC Instructor. All they have to do on this assignment is take this text, and most of them copy it, and they paste it in the subject line. Occasionally they will put something in the body, but they certainly don't have to. So those are the basically 2 steps on this assignment. And then also on these assignments, we try to give them a video because some of our students prefer to watch a video rather than read the directions. So we have recorded videos for NC105 as well. So this assignment usually is fairly straightforward. Sherry, are there common mistakes that you're seeing on this assignment from students? Oh, you're muted.
No, this one, they don't seem to have a problem with this one. Pretty easy.
So unless you guys have questions, we'll just move on to the next assignment. The next assignment is a file upload assignment. And this assignment, we really want them to learn how to use the file upload interface for the coursework assignment. We also here are having them complete what we call an online readiness questionnaire. And this questionnaire, they simply answer questions that are gauged to help them understand whether or not they're a good candidate for the online environment. Everything from basic computer skills to questions about how busy you are, what are your expectations for instructors, and how likely are you to initiate a conversation with your instructor or ask a question. So just 9 questions on this online readiness questionnaire. When the students complete this by filling in one of the bullets, the assignment automatically calculates, and they would then see a score on this last page. We have some very brief information here. If you scored in this range, maybe you are a good candidate for online. This range, you know, it might work, but you might want to rethink this or that. And then if it's below a 27, probably online isn't your preferred choice. So it's very simple, very basic. Another benefit to this particular assignment with the online readiness questionnaire, you can see that it is a PDF file. So again, we are having them use Adobe Reader. As Sherry mentioned, the certificate comes in Adobe. This assignment must be completed with Adobe as well, excuse me. So even if they have it installed on their computer, a lot of times we find that the student needs to update Adobe to a newer version. So here we are getting basically the skill of how to complete an upload assignment combined with exposure with Adobe Reader and also knowledge about online pedagogy. So Sherry, would you like to talk about the common pitfalls or the mistakes that we see on this one?
Sure. One of the main things that we see are, I'd say the first is simply not following directions. This has several different steps, and if they don't follow them exactly, the calculate function that's built into the questionnaire will not work. And so we're constantly tweaking our instructions so that they can keep up. Nomenclature is a big problem. They don't follow the directions. The second thing is filling in the question. There's a box for a description box where they're supposed to put the score of their questionnaire, and they sometimes fail to do that. There you go. A lot of times also they don't look far enough down in the directions where it identifies the different devices. If they're using a Chromebook or an Apple product, for example, there are other applications other than Adobe that will let them read the PDF and edit it. And we've given them examples of what to look for. A lot of times they'll email, it just doesn't work. And so then we have to start the question process of what kind of a device are you using? And we work through until they can identify which app is going to work or which application is going to work for their device. So those are the main 3 things, I think.
So I want to go back and touch on the following of directions. We have heard over and over since we started NC105 that instructors really appreciate the fact that we're very, I would say, hard-nosed in this class. If we say name your file questionnaire Panther Peter and the student doesn't use that nomenclature, then we reopen the assignment and tell them to try again. If they don't use the description box that Sherry mentioned to put their score in there, they get to redo it. So we've heard from instructors that you really appreciate the fact that we sort of take the student to task, learning to read and follow the steps that we provided for them. So we do kind of fight that battle, particularly with this assignment, because it's the first one where they're turning in a file like this. The naming of the file is extremely important for instructors when they go in and they are grading an assignment and they use the batch download feature, because if you've said questionnaire Panther Peter, then you can see every student at a glance with the file names. So I think that one is one that instructors really particularly appreciate us starting with this class, and we see that in other classes as well. But we are very picky in this class, and sometimes that can be frustrating for students, particularly on this assignment because it's the first one that they're likely to have it reopened again. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and go over to the next assignment.
Marie, can I ask a question there? And it may be
Absolutely.
more for Sherry, and it's just for informational purposes, but I was actually helping a student this morning, and she did not have Adobe. Is that a resource that we have a download somewhere the students can access, or do we require them to purchase Adobe themselves, or how do we go about that as a college?
It's a free download, and we do point them. The address is get.adobe.com/reader. And we do on all of our assignments where we reference Adobe, we provide that link. But also, Amanda, if your students are working with Chromebooks, number 2 might be, this note number 2 might be more applicable. Sherry has found DocHub and PDF Escape are 2 apps for Chromebooks that will help the students complete assignments with Adobe as well.
Okay, and do you have any suggestions for Apple or Mac products?
Sherry, I'm going to let you answer that.
Sorry. No, at this time I don't. But if you go to the Apple Store,
yeah,
there are several options there. And I believe actually Adobe will work on a Mac product, on an Apple product.
Okay, perfect.
It should. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions? Okay, then we'll move on to the next assignment. The next assignment is purely a technology skill, and that is taking a screenshot. We have found, we've gotten a lot of feedback from instructors that sometimes they have students verify something just by taking a screenshot and sending in the screenshot. So we've created an assignment that simply tells them this is how you take a screenshot. It is much, much easier since the onset of the snipping tool, at least for Windows products. And we also have on here some websites, some tips here. There's a whole website that talks about how to take a screenshot with this operating system or with that operating system. We talk about cutting and pasting text is not the same as a screenshot. So there's a lot of technology skill in this assignment. And that really is the purpose. How do you take a screenshot? But we've paired this, as we have all of the assignments, with knowledge about the college. So this particular assignment is paired with some netiquette rules, but also paired with the Panther Academic Resource Center, which we call the PARC. That's a campus group. So we're bringing in the social aspect with some campus groups. We're bringing in the Academic Resource Center, the PARC, where we provide online tutoring. And then we're bringing in netiquette. So the directions here walk the student through how to join a campus group. And the example that we've used is the Panther Academic Resource Center. I'm logged in as Peter, and Peter is already a member. So I'm just going to open the PARC in a new tab. And then once they're on this page, we point them to the rules of netiquette. This is Virginia Shea's basic rules of netiquette. We basically tell them to come out and pick any one of the 10. We don't care which one. So let's just pick this one. Rule 5, then they take a screenshot of this page. But if they come and take Rule 6 or Rule 8, we take the screenshot. The point is, can they follow the directions, join the PARC, get a look at maybe some of our other campus groups that are available in the process, learn about our online tutoring, and then have the awareness that there are netiquette rules out there, which is extremely important in all of our classes. Again, we give them the nomenclature on how to name the file, and we ask them to upload. So they're practicing the file upload assignment that they just learned in the previous assignment as well. So that's kind of a synopsis of the assignment. Sherry, what are the common mistakes we see on this?
Really, we don't see very many. They seem to be right on target with this one.
Okay. Especially if they just got flagged on the previous assignment for not using the right nomenclature. They do learn that and they get better about that.
Right.
So the next assignment, I would say this is probably the most difficult assignment in NC105. And it's not difficult in content or knowledge. It's a technology skill set, and it's difficult because every student's on a different device, and this has some technical issues with it. But if we come out to our home tab, you likely have noticed when you log into Inside NC on the home tab, I'm not sure why this is going so slowly, so I'm going to close a couple things and hope we can pick up a little bit here. There is a mailbox portlet. I'll talk and maybe it'll load here. The mailbox portlet is a custom portlet that Neosho asked Genzabar to make for us. Its sole purpose is to allow students to access their student email once they've gotten logged into Inside NC. So in the first assignment, we walk them through how to use the student email link in the navigation pane to access their email. In this assignment, we go a little bit further and tell them how to configure the mailbox portlet so that it seamlessly reads their email. If we can get this to open, Peter has some unread email messages out here. Excuse me. You can see there's 259 of them. On every page of Inside NC, you'll see that flag of account for students on how many unread emails they have. So Peter doesn't log in very often to read his email, but you'll notice here, most of these are mass emails out to students, but the students can also generate an email from this portlet. So once they get this configured, they really don't have to go back into the Gmail portlet to access their email anymore. So it's another way, hopefully, this notification about unread emails, helping them stay in communication with their instructors and then the offices here at the college. But there are some issues with this one, primarily tech-related, browser-related. Sherry, do you want to kind of walk through some of those?
Sure. The first thing that we check with when a student reports having a problem configuring this portlet, first thing I want to do is I want to see exactly what they're entering in. There's a dialog box with 4 boxes. It's their name, how they want their name to display, which would just be first name, last name. Then there's a box where they're supposed to enter in their email address, peter.panther@student.neosho.edu. The second box asks them to verify that. So just retype the exact same thing again. The last box is their password. And I think that's where we run into problems, is a lot of students don't realize that their email password, or they forget that their email password is different than their Inside NC password. So a lot of times we'll see that they're trying to enter in their Inside NC password rather than their email password. Or on occasion we find that when they set up their original Panther email, they automatically went in to change their password, and they'll change it to something like asterisk 852 period, just nothing but characters. And for some reason that seems to be a problem with our mailbox portlet syncing up to their student email account. And so we just have to instruct them to go back in, reset the original password back to something pretty basic, so that the emails passwords can sync up. Once that's done, they're able to get in just fine.
I will mention, I hopefully you can see my Inside NC and the box that Sherry was talking about. I believe it was last spring, Sherry and I worked with John Seibert to modify the labels for these 4 fields. So in the past, it was confusing because the students didn't know, is this my full email address? Is this, just the first part of my email address? And it also didn't say email password. So we asked John to help us clarify that language. And since we've done that, we do think it's been a little bit clearer. And now we are just having to troubleshoot with the students on tech issues.
Hey Sherry, do the students, when they set up their NeoShow email originally, do they get like a default password that they're encouraged to change, or is that, sorry, my bell, is that something that they typically, create on their own? I mean, how would I be able to help a student on my side of it? Is there something to refer them to, or?
I guess the first question would be is to ask them, have they changed their password? The default is usually always set up with NeoShow, the last 4 of their social.
Capital N?
No, lowercase.
Okay.
Everything's lowercase.
Okay. So if they haven't, or let's say even they do and they forget it, would they email you or would they email the help desk?
They email help, and help will reset it for them. But before they do that, if you look down in the assignment, there is a help file called Lowering Your Google Security Settings. That's probably the first step. If they verify that they've not reset their password, but it's still not working, that's the first step I would do. Lower the security settings, and that document walks them through exactly how to do that. It's worked for me 99% of the time when I'm walking a student through. There may be something weird.
Sherry, and is it, it's okay for them to use numbers but not characters for their password, is that correct?
It is best to use, yes, absolutely, lowercase letters and numbers.
Okay.
As long as it doesn't begin with a character, they can add them.
Oh, like they remember, just like the, yes.
Are there any other questions on the mailbox portlet? Okay, again, this one tends to be the most frustrating for students. And again, it is really only technology things. The directions or how to do it. Amanda, can you mute Sally? Thanks. It's really not that they're doing anything wrong necessarily. It's just that they have to take the time to go through the troubleshooting on that particular machine. So then the next assignment, I believe, is going to be the online assignment. I'm not sure why Inside NC has slowed down a little bit. But on this assignment, you'll see that Peter has actually started this assignment. So we're going to look at the directions here, but I do want to call attention to the fact that on this online assignment, we have it configured to show the student their grade in between their retakes so that they can continue to take this assignment over and over and over again until they get 100%. Now here are the instructions. Obviously the skill set we're wanting them to learn with this assignment is how to take an online assignment that's been done through the test builder. We have tried within this assignment to give a variety. There's matching, true, false, fill in the blank. There's an ordering. So we've tried to give all of the options of assignments so they get exposure to that. The knowledge, as far as NeoShow knowledge that we've covered with this online assignment, is all about academic honesty. So we're actually going to go ahead and take a look at, oh, I'm sorry. Sherry, I think I just clicked the wrong thing. Are you still in there and can reopen that for me? Or maybe I can just do it this way. I was hoping to show you the student interface and I clicked the wrong button. So the first question gives 4 choices and asks which one is not an example of a violation of the policy. The second one gives a scenario and asks if it is a violation. The third one covers the fact that a student can earn a grade of XF and that can be removed if they complete a course on ethics. The fourth question is all about the policy. It covers appeals and time limits and who's responsible for what aspect. So this is matching There's drop downs that the student would select from. The 5 choices appear on all of these. And then the 5th one is an ordering one. We have received some questions and concerns about the Turnitin assignment. So we constantly try to improve, and we've made another change to this assignment so that it seems clearer to students that the order in which you would complete the steps. So that's the online assignment. Are there questions about it? Okay, the next assignment is the forum assignment. So with this assignment, the skill set that we want them to learn related to Inside NC is how to post in the discussion forums, as well as how to reply in the discussion forums. When we created this assignment, it was an ad because we didn't used to have a forum assignment. So when we got that capability with Inside NC, we modified NC105 to add it. At that point, we just decided to ask the students to talk about study skills, give some tips to their classmates on what study tip has been helpful to them in the past. So the steps here walk them through how to use the blue button to go directly to the appropriate forum, but also at the bottom here, it aligns and shows them what is required. In this particular class, we're requiring 1 initial post and 1 reply, and we do not have a word count. But it does show the students, and you as the instructors can see this as well. And then they can click directly on the link and come directly to this particular forum. Again, on the forum page, it tells the student whether they have or haven't made the required number of posts and replies. We are demoing, I should have said this at the beginning, we're demoing with our faculty training course, which is an unmonitored section. So in this class, most of the instructors come in and look, but they don't actually complete it. If we were in one of our 10 student courses, you would see a variety of discussion here. Some of the students really give good, solid study skills tips, and others you can tell that they're really just going through the motions of making a post to complete the assignment. But we do encourage them to have that discussion. Sherry, are there common mistakes that we see with this assignment?
Not really. They seem to be doing pretty well with this one.
Okay. And then the next assignment is, I believe, a communicating with your instructor assignment. Basically, this can be a little bit confusing if they miss the first step. And earlier I was planning to show this to you, but I will show it to you now. So I'm going to share a different screen real quick. When the student completes that very first assignment where they've activated their Panther email and they email NC Instructor, then Sherry as NC Instructor comes in and gives this script right here. So she posts this on that first assignment when she grades and gives them 50 out of 50 points. This is a reminder that every assignment they complete in the course will be manually graded, that there's a 2 business day turnaround, and that they will request their certification once they've earned 400 points. This assignment that we're talking about now, the communicating with your instructor assignment, is designed to help the students learn about this 2-way communication that can exist on the coursework assignment itself. So we can see the comment from the instructor. And then on this assignment that we're talking about now, the students are directed to return to this assignment and then make a post here that just indicates the class that they're working on NC105 for, as well as the due date for that class. Then they take a screenshot of this and they upload it to the assignment. So I'm going to switch back and show you the other monitor again. Hopefully you can see I'm logged in as Peter Panther. back on the communicating with your instructor's assignment. So they take the screenshot, they do the file upload, it's comments, last name, first name. So hopefully at this point you can see we're repeating skills, the screenshot, the file upload again, the same nomenclature on the file. Sherry, what do we see on this one that's problematic?
This one seems to give them the most problems. Once they get past the first instruction, like you state, of figuring out where to go find the first comment, getting them there is a big. And then them understanding in step number 3 that they are not to respond to an email. Then they think that all they need to do is, they see the word email, and they send me an email with the information of why they're taking the course. So we have to refer them again to the instructions. Please read number 3 again so that they figure out where to go to leave that post.
And that's because if you're not aware of this, when an instructor gives a feedback comment, it automatically generates an email to the student, which is extremely helpful because then, and it comes in with the subject, Sally Suja has given you feedback on English, whatever the class is, whatever the assignment name, it's all there in the subject. So they get the email that tells them, and they can even see what the instructor has said to them right there in the email. But they also can see that if they go to the coursework assignment again. So this one, the graders do have to reopen a couple times sometimes, pointing them to step 1 and step 3 primarily. Because once they get that done, they can do the screenshot. And by this point, they are very good about naming their files. Anything else, Sherry?
No, that's about it.
Okay. Any questions on this one? All right, the next assignment is a gradebook assignment. So of course we want students to know how to find their overall standing in a class at any point in time. So basically here, we tell them to go to the gradebook in NC105. If they are doing the assignment sequentially, then by the point they get to this assignment, they should have grades on something. So we ask them again, take a screenshot, name it grades, last name, first name. It does not have to have all of their grades on there, and they could have a gradebook that is empty. All we're looking for is, can they get to the gradebook? Can they send us a screenshot that clearly shows that they are the one logged in and that they can see their overall grade? So that's this assignment. Again, repeating the screenshot, repeating the file upload, repeating the nomenclature. The new skill here is purely, can you get to the gradebook? Do you understand that your overall grade is on the gradebook page? Sherry, are there any common mistakes on this one?
Not really. We do get, it's funny the way it comes is the students generally call or email me and thank me for showing them where to find their grades.
Well, that's good. Then I feel like 105 is actually meeting its purpose, where they're learning something about how to be a student here at the college. And then the last assignment, which is the 9th assignment. So far, I believe we've done 8 assignments, each one worth 50 points. Once they've completed all 8 of those, they have 400 points. The last assignment is teaching them a skill set of how to email through the roster portlet. It's also the assignment where they would then request their certificate. Notice that, and this is a change we have made with some new features on Inside NC. This assignment is not open yet for Peter Panther. It will open for Peter Panther as soon as Peter has 400 points in the class, but at least Peter can see that it's coming or that it's here, and so they can see. And if we go back and look at the entire page, there's the online assignment. I apologize, my scrolling is out of whack right now. The online assignment shows up as complete because it is done. Here is that roster portlet, the completion email. So even though it's not open, the student can still see that there is something else to do. So it's set up on rules that once they've earned the grades on the other assignments, this one will open. Basically, all they're instructed to do is use the roster page, and there are help files. There's a video, there's files about how to use the roster page to email. They send an email to the instructor that requests their certificate. Kind of like the other assignment related to email, we give them the subject line, and that's really all they have to do is send that email. Sherry grades this. She generates the certificates. She can clearly tell when an email is generated from within the student email portlet and when that email is generated within the roster. And so we can tell that when the student is complete with 105, they should know how to do both of those functions, as well as that mailbox portlet. Sherry, what would you like to say about this one?
There are occasional emails that I have to return because they've taken the wording of the subject line, but they'll send it to me from their regular student email. And to me, it's just a reinforcing for them to understand where is the roster portlet and how to find it. So again, once you point them that direction, it's like the light went on. They're happy. We usually process their certificate usually it's within 24 hours. It could be 2 business days.
Or, so over the weekend. That is something related to due dates, particularly with online assignments. A lot of instructors use Sunday as a big due date. With NC105, if Sherry hasn't generated the certificate by 5 o'clock on Friday, they're not going to get it until Monday. So we do encourage instructors to think about that when they put their due date for this particular assignment. We also encourage instructors not to have this due the first week of classes because as we've been through these assignments, it could take a student a day or two, especially with the manual grading and the return of assignments. It could also not be a good idea to have this assignment due at the very end of your semester. So I know when I teach online classes, I shoot for the second week of the class because of course we want the student to learn these skills early in the course, but I try to give them 2 weeks as a minimum in order to get their certificate back. And I tell them over and over, as I'm sure a lot of instructors do, work on this initially, don't wait till the last minute. So that brings up a couple other things. If you have students in your classes that are telling you, hey, I've done all my assignments, but nothing's getting graded, it could be true, but chances are it's not quite the truth. There's probably another side to that. I would say the best choice in that case is for you as the instructor to just email NC Instructor and ask, hey, I've got this student, Pamela, and Pamela Panther says she's done everything and it's not being graded. Sherry does a great job of researching that and providing you back with facts. So we can actually see she submitted it on Tuesday. It was graded and reopened for her Wednesday morning. Now it's the next week and she hasn't done anything with it in that time frame. And that's a good time to also remember to let everyone know that when one of the graders reopens an assignment, they always put a comment in the feedback portion on the assignment. So it always generates an email to the instructor, an email to the student, letting them know that their instructor has reopened and gives the text about what was wrong and how to fix it. So there's that on the grading side. Sherry, what else do you want to add in at this point?
Well, as you were talking, I did think of something else that perhaps we didn't mention in a couple of the earlier assignments. But for example, on the file upload, I believe there is a button that the students are supposed to push that submits the assignment for grading that notifies the instructor. And so if someone says, well, I've done all my assignments, but it hasn't been graded, as an instructor, your first question might be, are you sure you submitted it? You may have uploaded it, but did you submit the assignment for grading?
That is an excellent point, because we have found that. So I've just uploaded a file. I just picked working as a CNA PowerPoint. I have no idea what that is. But something I used somewhere, because it was in Peter's Moxie Manager. But until Peter or the student clicks this big blue box that says turn it in, then it's not submitted for the instructor. And so we have had a couple students who have said, I've done all my work and nothing's graded, but they've been file upload assignments where they haven't actually submitted. So again, fulfilling that purpose of teaching the student how to use the portal for their classes. We do know in the regular classes that these assignments do actually convert and submit once the due date passes. But in NC105, we always set our due dates for the end of the semester. So that is a great thing. Yes, I don't think we mentioned that earlier, Sherry. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay, I will just highlight, we do have the help files page, which should have the documentation that is attached on assignments, as well as all the videos that we've created for the different assignments, and some of these tutorials, some of the websites that we've linked out to on screenshots. So this page is a great page to refer to if you're trying to help a student with something. I think that's about it in terms of the pages in the class. So mostly in this class, they're coming to the home page and then using the coursework page. So I think we're basically finished. We can stop and ask if anyone has any questions.
I have a question. Is there a way that we can tell if they took it without asking, or is it just listed in their coursework?
It is listed in their coursework. What I would do is create an assignment in my class that's a file upload that says do 105 and give me your certificate of completion. But short of them submitting that certificate for you, the other choice you have is to email NC Instructor and ask, has this student completed 105? We do maintain a spreadsheet of all of the completers since we have started NC 105, and we have talked about potentially trying to flag that in EX so that you could just run a query. We haven't quite gotten that all worked out and gotten the information into EX. So you can request that. It's pretty manual for Sherry to pull that information, but she has it and she can.
Okay, if they have taken it and they do the email upload and they say they don't have their certificate, can they get a repeat copy of it?
That's an excellent question. We do not reissue certificates.
Okay, so then they would have to do the whole thing again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, okay.
And we tell them that the email that they get when they receive that certificate clearly says, keep this email, save this file in 3 different places. You will not get another one. But we do occasionally get that question. I did this in the summer. Can I get a new copy? And the answer is no.
Okay. And then you said you give them 2 weeks to do the assignment, or how long does it normally take to do the assignment?
That's my personal setting in my class. The answer on how long does this take really depends on the student. A student who has used Inside NC and can follow directions and is fairly knowledgeable about the system could sit down, I think, and do all of these assignments in an hour. But then it's going to take up to 2 days, business days, to be graded, and if anything is reopened. But if a student is brand new to Neosho or brand new to college, I would really encourage them to do 1 assignment a day and really try to figure out how to do the assignment, because it's brand new skill set that they're learning, and really focus on that particular type is the file upload. And then they get practice until by the end of this course, they should know how to do a file upload without having to refer to instructions. So with 9 assignments, I would encourage a brand new or a not real strong tech student to try to do 1 a day. They could, of course, do 2 a day or 3 a day. Again, if they've been a student at Neosho or they're very tech savvy and they know in advance to really follow the directions, they could do it all in one afternoon or evening or morning.
Okay. All right. Good. Thanks.
Uh-huh.
All right, is there any other questions that we have for our presenters? All right, well, good job, ladies. Thank you for presenting today. I took lots of notes and I feel I am well informed now, so thank you for that.
Amanda, the only other thing I would say, and I mentioned it while we were talking through the assignments, we do constantly try to improve the assignment and make it more self-explanatory for students. So at any point, if any instructor has suggestions for us, just email those to NC Instructor or online or Sherry or I directly,